You ever had a friend who was always in like some miserable, dysfunctional relationship? And you go to that person and you say, why do you keep putting up with his shit? What is wrong
Yeah.
with you? And it's like, well, he loves me and I love him too. I mean, but just for the life of you, we'll never get out of that dysfunctional relationship. You know, that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. Agents have flocked back to Zillow. Zillow said, oh no, all that stuff where I was a broker and everything. No. I love you. Oh, when I was trying to take your listings away from me. Oh, no. I love you. Oh, all that money I charged you for all those years to build up this business and steal your listing. Oh, no. I love you again. Come on back. And a bunch of agents said, do you really love me this time? And they went back. This is mind-boggling to me. It is absolutely mind-boggling. People are asleep at their marketing.
Well, hello there, Lab Coat Agents. I am Shawn Kerley. I'm with my friend Big Face Brian Stevens with the National Real Estate Post. Big head. And we're going to be talking about the state of the month, what's going on in the mortgage world today. So let's just jump right into it, Brian. 2022 inventory woes. Listings are the amount of listings are even worse than what it was prior. A lot of it could be seasonality due to snow being on the ground throughout the entire, Midwest. But there's not enough listings for the amount of agents out there. Are our sellers going to get even more demanding and putting pressure on people's commissions? Or what are some of the things that some agents can do to try and still dig out or claw out some of these listings that are going to be coming available?
Oh God. Well, Fannie Mae just came out with a study a couple of days ago. In fact, it might have been yesterday. They said that the percentage of Americans who think it's a good time to buy a house right now, it fell to an all-time low in January. Right now, only 1 in 4 consumers who want to buy a house think it's a decent time to buy, according to Fannie Mae. And this is the lowest number that we've seen ever. And that's not a good place to be. The other thing right now, and you just mentioned agents' commissions. Well, agents' commissions, they just fell once again. The average agent commission is 2.63%, where it used to be 2.69%. So commissions are going down for agents. Sentiment from buyers is plummeting to all-time lows, and this is not good or healthy for the housing market. So, we do have to find a way to generate more opportunities. I had said before, and I believe we had spoke about this here. I said a good place to be to find inventory is find those non-owner occupied borrowers. Those homeowners who have one investment property and they've got fatigue because they dealt with the same type of forbearance issues that we dealt with, where they weren't getting those rents. And so there's a lot of people who have 1 or 2 rental properties and they want out of the market. You can go ahead and get lists on non-owner occupied homeowners or houses, and you can actually get some of those lists with scrubbed phone numbers and emails. That would be a great place to start for a real estate agent. Pick a market, pick 2 or 300, get a list of 200 or 300. It's probably going to cost you $200 or $300. And I would go through that list because there's opportunity there. And this is something that not every agent is doing. They're not calling on, expired listings. They're not calling on, those who are 90 plus days late, pre-foreclosure. No, this would be a great place to start, is those non-owner occupied folks in your area. I think there's a lot of fatigue there. Then the other one that we spoke about is if you were to go ahead and get a list of people who have credit scores that are 620 or lower, and it's an owner occupied property, who owns a house in your neighborhood who has a credit score of 620 or lower? The lower, the better. If they've got a credit score of 560, that would be perfect. How often is somebody asking you to go ahead and get a list of people who can't qualify for a house? Well, it's a list of 1. This guy right over here. Okay, so here's the reason we want to do that, is because we know if somebody owns a house and they didn't get that house with a credit score of 560, they had to work at it. Mm-hmm. So it could be for a variety of reasons, right? It could be they're unemployed or they're underemployed. It could be, it could be that they charged up a bunch of debt during the lockdown that we had, and a lot of folks did that. So now they're heavily indebted. and they're missing payments all across the board. This would be a great person to call because nobody's going to get foreclosed on. There's too much equity out there. But it would be a great time to call on these lists and say, hey, listen, my name is Brian Stevens with ABC Real Estate over here. I understand that you're a homeowner right now, and I wanted to let you know that you have X amount of equity in your house right now. And this is a great time to go ahead and sell because there's a lot of people interested in your house. And I would even at that point say, hey, there's a bunch of rental properties available, and then show them the options on rental properties and tell them how much money you can put in their pocket. Don't get into their bad credit, but you can kind of dance around the issue. So a list of non-owner occupied properties would be good, and a list of people in your area that have a credit score of 620 or lower. You might even want to go down to 600 or 580. Because if you have somebody who owns a house, they got a credit score of 580, that's a person who needs to sell because they're missing payments all over the board.
Yeah. And I've never heard of anybody say, go out and look for people with bad credit that own houses. I love this strategy. And maybe the team or the solo agent just has a CMA night where they just start putting together data on these houses that they're calling on and saying, look, I could sell your house for X. Does that entice you to even have a conversation on what it looks like? And again, the more people you talk to, the more conversations you have, hopefully the more families you're helping their situation.
You're right. I want to bring up 2 points on here, and I know that we got to move pretty quick today, so I'll be fast. But the reason why when you call on expired listings as a real estate agent, you never get that listing, it's because every agent in your town is calling that expired listing. So you're one of 100 agents calling that person, and all you're doing is pissing them off because you're another agent calling them, asking for something, leave me alone. So scarcity is one of a marketer's best friends. The other thing is, what we're doing is we're finding areas of scarcity. Nobody's looking for people with 560 credit scores. Nobody's hitting up the non-owner occupied properties right now. So you will be a list of one person calling them. So you're not going to get, your message is not going to get diluted with every other real estate agent doing the same thing. We have to zig when everybody zags. We have to be, the red M&M, in a bowl full of green ones. We have to be the salmon swimming upstream. And the other thing that we're doing is we have to find areas where there's a reasonable or a logical path to where that strategy is going to work. So this has a path where, okay, that kind of makes sense. So we get scarcity, we read the tea leaves of the market, we combine these things, and then we can actually go ahead and spend a couple marketing dollars with a little elbow grease equity, and an agent can go ahead, find, and actually manufacture a listing where it simply didn't exist before. That's how we can increase our equity, in our inventory.
For sure. Well, let's switch gears. One of our favorite companies to dump on. Past 6 months, Zillow's been dragged through the mud because of their Ibuying program, lost a bunch of money. But lo and behold, the lead generation business is good because people just cannot get off the Zillow nipple. They're predicting a 78% increase from their 2019 earnings. And what is the main reason why, Mr. Brian?
Have you ever had a friend who was always in like some miserable, dysfunctional relationship? And you go to that person and you say, why do you keep putting up with his shit? What is wrong with you? And it's like, well, he loves me and I love him too. I mean, but just for the life of you, we'll never get out of that dysfunctional relationship. That's what's going on here. Agents have flocked back to Zillow. Zillow said, oh no, all that stuff where I was a broker and everything. Oh, no. I love you. Oh, when I was trying to take your listings away from me. Oh, no. I love you. Oh, all that money I charged you for all those years to build up this business and steal your listing. Oh, no. I love you again. Come on back. And a bunch of agents said, do you really love me this time? And they went back. This is mind-boggling to me. It is absolutely mind-boggling. People are asleep at their marketing. We just talked about a great way to generate and manufacture a lead, and it's going to cost you a few $100. Okay. And you're going to have to do a little work, but doesn't work entail work? So come on, people. And so, no, what's happening, and rather than spending a few $100 with a high probability of actually getting listings, agents are saying, no, I don't like the work. I don't want the strategy. I want the familiar Zillow. Even though we're in a dysfunctional relationship, I would rather spend thousands with you than hundreds investing in myself. And it's just remarkable to me. And yet here we are. Zillow is once again at the top of their game. And if you think that they're not going to go back in and start using those brokers' licenses with access to every multiple listing system in the country, you are out of your mind. What they're doing right now, people, this is very simple to see. They are reformulating their algorithm, and they are going to go back into the iBuying, and they're going to go back to trying to take your listings, and they will find a way to be successful. Do you want to know why? Because almost every CEO of a Fortune 500 company is a sociopath.
Okay.
Right? And this is no exception. And sociopaths don't like to lose. That's why they're CEOs, because they have no emotions. They don't care. And it's all just about winning. And when you go down as hard as Zillow went down, if you think they're not going to come back, you're crazy. And what you're doing is you're fueling them right now with your dollars.
Yeah. So
quit using them. Just quit.
Yeah, let's quit using them. Again, circling back, I love the ideas that you presented earlier in this conversation on how to try to manufacture inventory, because if we look at another avenue of inventory, it's always foreclosures. Well, we're at 0.24 of 1% on foreclosures. And the main reason is because of the equity levels that everybody has. I think the average household has 158,000 in equity. I mean, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
So with foreclosures being hardly anything, because I do believe last week you said there was a whopping 4,001 active foreclosures. Just something so minutely small. Is the lower foreclosure, that has to be a catalyst for property values to continually to keep on going up. Maybe not at 2021 or 2020 pace, but households still have to be positively communicating wealth, I would think.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Guys, you have to understand, if I tell you agent commissions went down, is that a good or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. It's a symptom of an illness. If I tell you that home buyer sentiment is at an all-time low, that's a bad thing. It's a symptom of a sickness, of an illness. If I tell you that foreclosures are at an all-time low, you're going to say that's a good thing. No, it's a symptom of the same illness, the same sickness as buyer agent commissions and home buyer sentiment. They're all symptoms of an unhealthy housing market. We have to have a certain level of attrition to have a healthy housing market. It's all about moving inventory. And now with the equity as high as it is, first-time home buyers, you can't buy in any major metro. You can't buy in any market in the country right now. You just can't do it. And I mean, unless you're coming up with, I think, in Sacramento, California right now, the median income for a property out there is like $750,000. Just a few years ago, when the housing market was healthy, it was like $275,000. That means you had first-time home buyers who can go in there and find a way to move up and keep this cycle of inventory circulating going. Every time you sell a house, it's bringing like $70,000 into the market. When we can't buy houses, we can't sell. When we can't buy houses, that means we can't sell houses. That means we can't keep reintroducing money into our communities. And that means there's a whole bunch of people, ready, willing, and able-bodied folks who could and should and be able to buy a house, simply can't do it right now. In every market, we have priced out the first-time home buyer. You can't tell me that's a healthy thing. So yeah, I brought up earlier that having a certain level of foreclosures would be good. The only way for that to happen would be for our inventory to go down. Or excuse me, the only way that would happen is to have our equity go down. And you're saying, oh my God, Brian, you think it's a good idea to lose equity? You bet your ass I do. It's too much. It's too over the top right now. It's good for homeowners, but it's coming at the consequence of our economy and everybody else.
Well, and what we talked about last month is the average household income is $35,000, but then the average house for sales like $350,000 or something. So the average person cannot afford the average house.
No, not
I
even
do want to get to a question that Patricia has. Whenever you're talking about one of your strategies, where are you getting, or where's a great place to get these numbers and emails besides title companies, like getting this data, scrubbed data that you were talking about, these lists?
Okay, if you want to reach out to me at mortgageshots@gmail.com, that's mortgageshots gmail.com. I'll have my office manager. He'll point you in that direction. I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's a number of different places where you can find great mined data and find it at a very reasonable price. So if you want to reach out to mortgageshots@gmail.com, we'll make sure we get that over to you.
Perfect. On one of your shows last week, there was a number that was just quite staggering. I kind of giggled a little bit and shook my head and all in disbelief. National debt interest paid in 2021 was only 562 billion, and out of that, 413 was paid out to the U.S. holders of U.S. securities. Sorry, holy hell, that's a lot of money just being paid out on debt. I mean, I don't know. It just scares the hell out of me.
Well, here's the double-edged sword on this thing. Is how do we get more inventory and how do we get a healthier housing market? Rates go up by 2 or 3%. Buying power goes down. The prices people are charging to list their houses go down. There's a little fear about losing out on all your equity. And so there's a run on listings, and that pulls prices down even a little bit more. Rates going up by 2 or 3% would generate the opportunities for the inventory. It would be a good thing for the housing market. Higher rates would be a great thing for the housing market. Problem is our national debt is also set up with what the Fed Reserve is doing right now. So if we have rates that are going up 2 or 3%, and we're already paying out over 500 billion in debt, what's that number going to go up to?
Yeah.
So it's going to kill us with our national debt. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And frankly, I don't have an answer to it, but isn't that kind of a crazy place to be? I mean, I'm not going to get in the weeds on this because it's not what we're here to talk about, but I find it maddening that we are still printing money and we are still giving it to people for doing nothing. My son bought like a whole new computer system with money that he didn't earn. There's a story, and look this up. There's a dude down in Florida who got so much money, free money that was handed out. He bought a Lamborghini. Look it up. Look, I'm not kidding you. What's taking place right now with all the handouts of money is absolutely absurd, because all of that is going on our national debt. I think I showed you last week. I looked at a steak at my grocery store, not even a good steak. It was $27. I mean, it was like for one steak, it was crazy. It was a $5 steak that was going for $26. So if we don't like the prices now, just wait. Inflation is going to be a total pain in the ass in the coming years. And by the way,
go ahead.
Inflation might be good for more inventory too.
Yeah, and I mean, so you're basically saying that printing money and just increasing the debt on the national credit card is not a good strategy.
It's maddening, you know.
It is. Just to get off tangent, my wife and I and our two lovely daughters were out grocery shopping because we had a big snowstorm here in St. Louis, and we had to restock the cupboard, so to speak. And after we were done, I got the bill. It was like $500. It's like, did we buy gold? Like, what is actually in here? It's just nuts. Inflation across the board. Lastly,
go for it.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the amount of folks who are unemployed is staggering. The amount of jobs that are available is staggeringly high. People they're just not going back to work right now. So we have the opportunities exist. In fact, if you're to look at it right now, retail trade, the numbers are off the charts. Transport and warehouse, the numbers are off the charts. Professional and business services, off the charts. Leisure and hospitality are off the charts. So we live there in Napa, California, which is a hill over from us. A little swanky place, I get it. But there's restaurants there that are offering $60,000 to $70,000 a year for a food server, plus tips. $60,000 to $70,000 a year for a food server, plus tips. And I'm telling you, when you're getting your steak and lobster in Napa, that ain't coming cheap. You can make $150,000 a year as a food server. And people simply aren't taking jobs right now. The whole thing's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because your dollar does not stretch nearly as far as it did before, and it's like you need a lot of friends to buy the same damn thing. Right. let's talk about something that came out last Thursday. But crazy in both of our eyes. UWM, they've been in the news last year to where they got pissed off at Rocket Mortgage and Fairway because they thought that Rocket was poaching some of their brokers, to come work for them. And they said, okay, everybody.
That's not true, by the way. I'll explain. I know that's what they're saying, but that's not true. I'll explain it.
That's the message that he went when he announced this on a Facebook Live. Right. But anyway, the owner, I do believe Matt, I forget his name, basically says, if you want a relationship with us, you cannot talk to Rocket, you cannot talk to Fairway, you can only be in bed with us. Now, he's actually filed a couple lawsuits against some bigger broker shops last week because they were sending some deals to Rocket and some deals to Fairway, and now he's suing them over this agreement that he has. I have no idea what the hell this guy's doing, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, this is all about ego. This is all about ego. So, Matt was a 12th guy on the bench when Michigan State University won their national championship years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough to make the team, not good enough to get in the game, which, by the way, makes him incredible, absolutely incredible at basketball, a feat that I've never even gotten close to. It's that incredible, remarkable. And I think there's a lot of discipline that goes into it. But I also think it's kind of like that whole idea of, I got to always strive to be better. They're located in Michigan. They're located outside of Detroit. Rocket's located outside of Detroit. And Rocket is the biggest lender in the world. They just are. Rocket is posted and plastered all over the place. Dan Gilbert is a philanthropist. Dan Gilbert owns Detroit, Michigan. He owns like almost every building in Detroit, Michigan. Dan Gilbert is this giant person, and Matt Ishba is looking at him and saying, I need to take him down for ego's sake. I think this is all an ego play. That's the only thing this comes down to. They were like handing out flyers down by, Rocket's headquarters. They've done like just a bunch of kind of just crazy shit. And it all screams of an ego that says, I've never been good enough. And God damn it, I got to keep trying. And just that's what it has to be. I mean, because it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you that what for me personally, it's Matt has become a remarkable success. I mean, he's a billionaire multi times over now off his IPO. I don't like some of the tactics he's used to get there, but he's built a brilliant company. He has brilliant software. He's got great rates. He's got great turn times. He's built something that's absolutely brilliant. And if without all the underhanded tactics, he would still be the biggest lender in the country. I'm convinced that he would still be the biggest wholesaler in the country without all the underhanded tactics. Frankly, I think he might even be a bigger wholesaler without the underhanded tactics, because what's taking place is there are certain people who are just turned off by this. So he went to him before and said, you sign this. He called it his all in, or what was it? Was it called all in? What was it called?
It's something like that. It slips me.
It's all in. Yeah. All in. Who's got to be all? Yeah. Who's got to be all in? Is Matt all in with you, or do you have to be all in with Matt? This is one of these dysfunctional relationship things. So what he did is he went to all of his brokers and said, you have to sign this to say that you won't work with these two wholesalers. Or if you do, I have the right to go ahead and sue you for damages on anything that you funded with me. This has never happened in the history of mortgage lending, and it's a black eye for brokers. Brokers pride themselves on having choices. That's what we're all about. Brokers' independence. Brokers are better, man. I get to pick where my business is going. I'm an independent mortgage broker. Bullshit. You're not an independent mortgage broker if you're signing these forms and allowing Matt Ishba and United Wholesale Mortgage to go ahead and dictate where you're sending your business. It boggles the mind, and it's a remarkable black eye for the mortgage brokerage industry. It's mind numbing. Never in the history of mortgage brokering has a wholesaler sued somebody they're doing business with for giving business to another lender. It's never happened before. It's crazy. And by the way, I'm sorry, excuse me for my salty language, but this thing really, really, really gets under my skin.
Yeah, and for the agents out there, UWM is basically an investor, a bank that a broker will send business to. Rocket, same thing. Fairway, same thing. They're wholesale channels. And just for one of them to say, you can only play with my ball. You come over here and you play with me, or I'm going to sue you if you play with them.
Well, to be clear, what they're saying is you can play with other people. You just can't play with him and him.
It's and me at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
You can go ahead and talk to any girl you want to, but you're not allowed to talk to the 2 other pretty ones over there. You know what I mean? That's what they're saying. You go talk to all the, you can talk to all
You're
the
going to get some hate mail for the ladies, Brian. Why is it going to be that crazy, girl?
All right, gals, you can tell that to your boy. You can talk to, or guys, you can say that to your girl. You know, you can talk to any guy out there, but you just can't. You can't talk to who. You can't talk to Brad Pitt, and you can't talk to who's another one. Give me a name.
Matthew McConaughey.
Chris Pratt, Matthew McConaughey.
There you go.
You know, you can talk, you can talk to Jonah Hill. Go ahead, have a great time with Jonah Hill. You can go ahead and do that, but you're not allowed to talk to. Yeah, you're not allowed to talk to Brad Pitt.
Anyways, well, yeah, poor Jonah.
You get the point.
I do 100%. We'll see how this plays out. I think I think this will probably get thrown out, but it is a stain if you're on the other side and you're not all in with UWM for sure.
You know how many people who are, I mean, seriously, how many people right now who are brokers who signed that form, who sees the underhanded tactics, saying, wait a minute, I'm a broker. We're all into this for brokers. We're all into it for brokers are better. But now our wholesalers are suing brokers.
Yeah.
Well, I need to back up brokers because brokers are better. Is it brokers are better or Matt Ishba is better? That's the question. How many brokers are going to look at what took place and say, you know what? I'm not down with what's taking place here, so I'm going to move my business elsewhere. And they probably won't go to Rocket. They probably won't go to Fairway, but I'm going to move my business elsewhere. I'm going to start rescinding my business from United Wholesale because I disagree with the underhanded tactics that are taking place right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. For sure.
Well, only time will tell. And maybe we'll have something else to report next month whenever we do this again, my friend.
Well, it's always fun. I always feel like I'm, sitting in the chair on the Johnny Carson show having a conversation with you. It's always just a fun conversation. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, sir. And I always finish this up, guys. If you do not get Brian's daily emails for the National Real Estate Post, download the mobile app on your smartphones. Go to the website, nationalrealestatepost.com. Just amazing content that keeps you up to date and makes it light and fun. And it's, because a lot of times the mortgage or real estate business can get a little mundane, but I appreciate your efforts on it.
Thank you. You have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.